Well, it's 7 p.m., so we'll call the meeting to order. This is the regular council meeting of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, held in council chambers at 216 Main Street, Swan River, Manitoba, this first day of October 2025 at 7 p.m. Present this evening, Reeve Gade, Councillors Byron, Zbirun, Kushniryk, RJ McGregor, Carrie, Blosha, Brian, Burick, Terry Neely. Our CAO, Kristi Ronnquist, is with us. Videographer Jeremy R Bergen is in the room tonight, and we have at least one guest so far listening in to the meeting. We'll start in at number 2, adopting the agenda. Be it resolved, the agenda for the regular meeting of council held this first day of October 2025 shall be adopted as presented. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Burick, and I see Councillor Kushniryk. Is there any additions or changes to the agenda anyone would like? There was a late addition about 10 minutes ago. Councillor Kushniryk asked me to talk about crack ceiling bonito, so I put that on mine, so we'll get to that towards the end of the discussion session. Hearing nothing else, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That is carried. Number 3, adopting the minutes. Be resolved the minutes of the regular council meeting held September 16th. That was a good day. 2025 be adopted as presented. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Blosha, and someone who wishes to second? Councillor McGregor beat you to it. Copy of the minutes are attached to the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review those? Were there any errors or omissions noted in the minutes? Hearing nothing, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That is carried. Number 4, Public Works report. Go check if I got anything. Did you get anything recently? Okay. I did ask a little while ago if there was one coming, and I haven't seen a reply. Lead hand was off today, so that may explain why we don't have it. So unfortunately, I have very little to share from Public Works report at the moment.
Do you know?
Sure.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
You know, I asked him if we're using that disc. He said he wants to cut the grass first.
Okay.
So is it good? I don't know what kind of a job that disc does. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the demo. But is it good to disturb the road this time of the year with it? Because if you put loose stuff on the road and you get 6 inches of wet snow, that's going to be a mess. So I was just wondering.
It does the very edge.
I know.
It doesn't do the whole road.
Doesn't it put the edge onto the road?
Kind of puts it over a foot or two. It doesn't put it all the way across.
Yeah, but even part of the road, like if it softens it up and then you get, like I say, 4 to 6 inches of wet snow, it'll be a mess. So I was just wondering, is it okay to leave it first thing in the spring?
I'm sure he would be willing to do that for you.
No. I want it done yesterday.
Hey, if you want to delay work, I'm sure we could do that.
I want Ward 6 done yesterday, but
I think he'll be reasonable about it. I think we've got to finish mowing first.
Yeah, I know, that's what
he's
he's-
Yeah, 'cause actually-
mowing has to get finished
Yes.
first.
Because some places never even got mowed once yet.
I know. Did you?
That's-
Is that new mower working?
It is
It's working good.
working pretty good. It's got its moments. Like, it's not 15 feet wide.
No.
You know, so we're used to some of those ditches where we've been mowing 15 feet last couple of years. It simply isn't 15 feet. There's 3 feet left. So, okay, normally we mow that. It's going good. We've done a little overtime on it, so we've had a couple guys take it out after 4 o'clock just to catch us up some more, which is good. I was hoping tonight to be able to say how many miles we had left, but I don't have that number yet. But we've been knocking them off fairly good in the south. There was a lot of that had never been mowed, so they've been up. I think they've been in the Alpine area already, but I'm not
Said
sure.
tomorrow they were gonna try to finish Alpine, because I had people asking today,
Yeah.
north of Swan here hasn't been mowed at all. And he said hopefully in the next couple of days he's going that way.
Okay.
I hope.
I hope so too.
Now, is this, when they're gonna finish mowing, is that they're doing the first pass or are they gonna start the second pass?
That's the first pass they're trying to get done.
Yeah, but will they start the second if they're done or no?
Guess we'll see when the first pass finish. There's some places where they mowed early on, you can't tell they mowed.
Yeah.
You know, like the ones where we mowed middle
In
of June. You know, everything just grew back because they haven't had it out yet, so they're pretty tall. They might need a second run, just because it looks like they haven't been. A few people go, oh, that road's not mowed. Well, actually, I know that one was, but it was
Yeah.
done so early.
Okay, no, I just wanna know about that disc, cause it's,
Right.
love to see it work.
Anything else you folks want to talk about Public Works wise? I'm sure it'll come up again too. Let's head to financial items 7.1, general checks. Be resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. General checks number 20785 to 20815 in the amount of $340,783.79, and pre-authorized debit number 2025-033 to 2025-035, the amount of $8,321.03 for a grand total of $349,104.82. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Kushniryk, and someone to second it? Councillor Neely. I happen to have a copy of many of those invoices here. Who has questions? You'll notice there's 3 individuals on the list tonight. Those all relate to tax payments where the individual made a payment for their taxes, but their bank did as well for their mortgage. So we're refunding the one payment, so they're not charged twice for taxes. So that's why those are there. I see your hand. Go ahead.
20811.
11. So that's post pounders that are using for these rural address signs.
Okay. And do we know how many are left?
Last I heard was about 200 left of the first batch. The second batch is in production now.
Okay.
So first batch was the first 500. So 300 are up, 200 of those to go.
Okay.
And then it's not a full 500, the second batch is 400 and some.
494, it's right.
No, I see lots are up, but I just went, it's kind of a little scattered.
Well, and the way the ordering went, all of the east-west roads were ordered first. The second batch is all of the north-south roads.
Oh, okay.
So they've been doing all the east-west roads, they sort of started in the north and been coming south. And then as those get done, then they'll be doing the north-south roads.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wondered, I thought, Jesus, like, there's this road skipped and then there's that. It's just.
What happens if there's an east-west road yard site that's missed? What does that mean? Didn't have the number or didn't have the sign?
Or no one's occupied?
There's
That's
a couple
living.
options. If it's occupied, it should have been there. There was a couple ordering mistakes that we had to order a new sign for them because the first sign wasn't correct. So it's a small chance it's one of those. If it's still not there when we're done, then it was missed, we have to order for it. But
Okay.
we
So
went
it is the
through-
east and west road,
Yeah,
and that's the way I understood east and west roads were done first,
yes.
but this yard site was missed, so they asked me, how come?
Yeah, everything else on their road is done. And
Did
that's
you see other
City's
signs on that
road.
road?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, then it's missed.
And maybe if you could just give us the information after the meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll double check it and make sure there was a sign for them or what's
Okay.
happened. Councillor Neely.
20803, just a question.
20803.
How is that working? All municipal grants and private donations, they go into our account and then we pay these bills, or how does that
That's
work?
correct. Yeah, there's an account they've set up, so everything that's coming in is in an account, and then they're charging these expenses to that account, but we write the check.
Okay.
So the grant money from the government was written to Swan Valley West. All the private donations have been written to Swan Valley West.
So, and then there was a discrepancy of about 70
Right.
somewhere. As
So we've written the check for it, but we're hoping to collect that back.
okay,
That account, though, in the end shows the, I haven't seen it yet, but it's supposedly the way we did it in the computer is we can see what that discrepancy is that needs to be covered yet. So it's clear of what needs to be
it's a rounded figure, then it's not absolute.
Right. And I think this bill's in, the concrete bill is in,
Yeah, it's up above 6,000 bucks.
there's going to be a invoice for a couple $100 yet for some water work to be done there for a plumber, hook up the one thing. And there is a concrete invoice here for 6,000 tonight that says Splash Park on it that is not Splash Park concrete. That's going to be changed. Check 20788, that's actually tower-based concrete for that communications tower we're doing video. So it's not Splash Park, even though it says it is here. Splash Park concrete was 20-some thousand, and they did give us a discount on it to help out a little bit, which was nice. I appreciated that. Any other check questions tonight?
Well, just this one, John Deere Financial, 20796, was that the skid steer?
Oh, no.
20796, about a fuse box.
That is the Bonito tractor that went into the
Oh.
landfill.
You were away.
Oh, that's a tractor.
Yeah, but were you here when the tractor rolled?
Yeah, I knew about that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I meant. Yeah, the tractor that tipped over.
Yes. Now, the good news is
It's good and running good.
it's going. We replaced the fuse box, did a little work on it, did most of the labor ourselves, and it's going again. So it's quite nice to not have it be a huge expense. It was annoyance. It took some labor.
On that note, any word on the skid steer yet?
Which is not looking good when the answer just doesn't come, right?
Yeah.
But
Are we gonna have to make a decision on that ourselves, on what we're gonna do?
we're going to have to at some point. There's been like, John Deere has been trying very hard to sell us a brand new one.
Oh,
And we've been kind of resisting because like, you know, tell us about used ones, tell us some other options too, right? But we haven't gone down that path too far. They called me the other night. And if we didn't buy a new one by the end of September, the price on new ones might go up and shouldn't we just buy it right now? And I'm like, you're barking up the wrong tree. Calling me at home at 8 o'clock at night is not gonna skid steer bought.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
anything else on the checks? Hearing nothing, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. 7.2, payroll checks be resolved. The council, the municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. Payroll payments number 941 to 947 in the amount of $28,115 even. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Burick, who'd like to second? Councillor Blosha. Any discussion on the payroll amounts or checks tonight? Hearing nothing, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. 7.3, we have a copy of the budgetary control report here. This is getting to be fairly accurate. I'm not going to sell it as totally accurate. I see a couple things to adjust yet. When I ran through it earlier, I still have a question of how the one input, the recycling program is at minus 38,000, so we're still going to sort that out. The insurance is not yet showing here as $100,000 expense that it should be, so that's sorted out. Same thing with the insurance for the rink and bonito, it's not showing in here yet. So that'll get sorted through. Otherwise though, many of these numbers are going to be quite accurate. And at the moment, don't want to say it too loud, touch wood, we're not exceeding our budget on much.
I feel like the rink one is in there.
It's budgeted for 60, but I don't think the 60 is ever been expended yet. It's just showing the budget line,
Okay, yeah.
but it isn't showing that we've actually paid that insurance.
Oh, yeah, because it's only showing 100, yeah.
And we need to,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it has been paid, but the check doesn't show in there, so we just need to jiggle it around so it does. Does anyone have questions about that? Otherwise, it's just for your information. As always, you're welcome to call anytime, drop by the office.
just,
Yep,
we budgeted 50,000 for capital
roads.
project, right? We haven't spent any of that yet, have we?
$200 it looks like.
What? I can't-
Yeah.
Mine's side
Oh,
by
yours
side, I don't know
is.
how to turn.
You just, there's a little thing at the top, you just click it. It looks like.
Oh, sure, smart ass.
There's a little half circle there, just.
Half circle? Let's see what the half circle does.
So we can discuss that.
Which one's that, Carrie? The half circle?
Remind us,
See,
Carrie,
there's-
give us some time tonight.
where's the half circle?
I'll show you.
Oh, right here, look.
Kids.
Presses.
You see that? You see
I'm gonna tell finance how much fun they make it for everyone to have to push.
Mine
the
looks
button.
like that. See that little?
Yeah, I don't have one of those.
Yeah, you just go over here.
I think we tried it on my iPad before, nobody could get
Yeah,
it.
Oh, please.
Right there.
there it is.
That's
right
okay,
there.
don't use press.
No, no, that one, yeah. There you
Just turn the
go.
whole iPad.
Perfect, look at
There
that,
you
see,
go.
perfect. Man, that's
I
just,
turn this, it turned this.
you're trained. Good, you got, good thing for all that training.
I did. Trial and error.
Just knock you out of your meeting.
You got me in the porn section though.
What?
Once more time on this, or you're.
No, no, keep going, I got it straight now, it was just, like Neely, Councillor Neely said it was twisted.
Well, mine is.
Right.
So you just gotta find that circle with the arrow on it, and it'll just
I
flip
don't
it.
have one of them.
You gotta find
You
the
just got an
arrow,
arrow.
It's okay, let's carry on with the meeting. That's okay.
because it'd be kinda hard reading it with,
It's all right, I'll go to the next section.
So, as I was saying, you certainly don't have to wait for a meeting. If your question comes up in the meantime, call, come in, whatever, you guys are always welcome. And ladies, always welcome to drop by the office. Finance would love to go through numbers with you, show you invoices, whatever you want. They'll make it happen for you. Let's go to discussion items. 8.1, Q3, safety meeting minutes. Copy of that's attached. This is primarily for council's information, I think. Just so you know the meeting happened, and we're kind of keep you up on the safety thing. A little reminder of how we're doing safety now. We don't have to have a committee, so we kind of got rid of that because it wasn't working so well. So now there's the employee rep and the CAO kind of meet and go through things. Given that the employee rep is going on leave here shortly, there'll be some changes to who the rep is, but we'll get working through that. And we kind of have a plan figured out for our terms and position to kind of look after that until the other employee comes back, so we should be good to go. It's funny how they make these things sound so calm. Like, we watched that video of the tire exploding. It was a lot of fun to watch and hear. It's just like, when a tire exploded, and it's just so calm.
Somebody is recording it?
Yeah, we had it on security video.
That's the one that,
And
over in the
Benito.
shop there,
Yeah.
the guy was fixing the tire.
Yeah, pretty good video, especially seeing how it wasn't our employee that did it. Anybody have discussion, questions, anything on the safety meeting?
That window, the slag falling on the window causing it to crack, is that what we paid John Deere for?
I believe so. Expensive lesson.
Yeah.
Is that our public works report?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go back to that then. If the public works report is arriving, we're both beeping at the same time. There's a good chance that's what it is. Mowing in the north is getting close to finished. Tim will be moving towards Thunder Hill area Friday. New mower the JD is attached to has been modified with some expanded metal pieces on the bottom of the mower skirt to prevent more rocks from getting kicked up. And the window on the door has been coated with a film to help prevent further issues, as well as fabrication for a shield. So I'm assuming did we break the window?
We
once
broke
or-
the window
Oh,
from
okay.
a rock flying up.
Okay, so
Is that it? That's all?
that's all.
That was short.
Steve?
If it beeps again, maybe there'll be another paragraph. Okay, 8.2. I guess we have to read this. Whereas the owner of part of Southwest quarter section 35, 34, 28 West has made application to subdivide 2.69 acre parcel requiring approval from the Municipality of Swan Valley West as per community planning, and whereas the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West has reviewed said application along with a letter received from Municipal Relations dated September 15th, 2025, and have noted that taxes on the property to be divided are paid prior to approval of the subdivision. Further, the municipality has no objection to the aforementioned subdivision. Therefore, be it resolved, we do by hereby approve the subdivision of the above noted property, provided that all conditions and requirements are met as included in the letter from Municipal Relations. Would someone care to move the resolution? Councillor Neely. Who'd like to second it? Councillor Kushniryk. Copy of the application is attached. It's minor subdivision, so no hearing is required on this. We're just looking for council's approval. So there's a little map there. Essentially, they're subdividing the yard off of the main quarter, which is a fairly common thing these days. Does anyone have questions, comments, things they want to say about this?
No government agencies have any issues with it, so,
No, they seem to be pretty calm, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, it was, everything complied quite nicely. Anything else? We'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. Let's skip over 8.3. We'll come back to those two bylaws at the end, see what we have for time. Go to 8.4, fire department rates. This is coming back from last meeting. We had talked about changing what we were presenting for Benito Fire Department rates. These are those revised rates. So first hour call at $3,200 to the pumper, $1,300 for rapid response pumper, $600 for rescue. Subsequent hours at $850 for the pumper, $400 for rapid response, $300 for rescue. So basically just went up on that like council had discussed. Is everybody good with what it says now?
Okay. Oh, well, I've always had questions about the fire thing.
Oh,
Okay, you got $3,200.
Mhm.
Somebody in our municipality has a fire. Who pays that?
Nobody. So if we respond to a fire in our municipality, we don't charge.
So this is if we go somewhere else.
This is if we go someplace else that does not have an agreement with us.
with us.
Under the mutual aid agreement we all just signed, we must provide each other these rates. So we must set what these rates are and provide them to the other municipalities, so that if they have a non-mutual aid need for our fire department, they know what it will cost.
Okay.
But under that agreement, it's practically impossible that it wouldn't be mutual aid to one of our partners. Even if it wasn't mutual aid, it's still our prerogative whether we send the bill or not.
It's just the same, well, we gotta deal with Livingston already, so
Now in Livingston,
that's a different deal.
well, and so it is a little different because in Saskatchewan, fire protection is not included in taxes. So their fire protection is part of your home insurance. So most home insurance plans have a $10,000 fire protection coverage. So our agreement with Livingston says we would bill these rates if we went to Livingston to the homeowner. What we've always quietly said around here is we're never gonna bill more than their insurance can cover. If we're there for a whole day, but they only have $10,000,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a $10,000 bill. It's not gonna be 20, because that's just silly. You know, we're there to try and help out too. But if the insurance has money to pay, well, that helps fund the department. I would suspect these will very rarely be charged. Perhaps every year or two into Livingston, we might see a bill go
yeah.
to homeowner, but
See, the Swan River rates are double ours or more.
they are. And we were here last meeting, we talked about this in ours. What we had proposed was a lot lower than this, and we thought we should up it some because Swan Valley was so much higher, just to make it be a little more realistic.
Mountain's gotta raise theirs a little, it looks like.
The resolution be resolved, the rates of the Benito Fire Department for 2025 be approved. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Neely, who would like to second it? Councillor Zbirun. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. We'll move to 8.6. We'll start with the resolution. Whereas fines have been issued to the property commonly known as 616 and 618 First Street West in Durban for non-compliance, I might even spell that right because I spelled it wrong the first time, with provisions of bylaws, and whereas the property owner has not appealed the fine but has also failed to pay the fine and the amounts have been outstanding for longer than 30 days, therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby confirm the fines and approve adding the outstanding fines totaling $3,000 in penalties to taxes on roll number 83700 effective October 1st, 2025. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Blosha. Does anyone care to second the resolution? Councillor McGregor. Copies of the fines are attached in the private review for council. We weren't 100% sure if these were subject to FIPA rules or not, so we didn't attach them in the public view, but we're also not hiding the roll number of the address. So if anyone really wants to go see who this is, you can look it up. It's public knowledge, but we just weren't including their name in the public version of this. The fines relate to bylaw issues for unsightly property and storage of derelict vehicles. This is a fairly well-known location, I think, to council, so bylaw's been working on this for some time. They started back in June. And I can report everywhere else they've been working on this, they've had the property owner kind of help out and at least meet us part way on what we wanted done. That hasn't been the case in this property, is why they've issued these fines. They had the opportunity to appeal them to council, to come here and give us some reasons not to charge them, they elected not to do that.
This fine must be quite a bit larger than the annual taxes.
Yes. Annual taxes for that property are about $500 a year. Further discussion? Any other information you want to know?
Do these people actually own the property or are they renting it?
They own it. They were in tax sale and paid enough to get out of tax sale this last go around. And they did actually contact the office to make payment arrangements on this amount to avoid going into tax sale again in the spring, which was good. It would be nice to not go into tax sale.
Yeah.
The office did offer them payment arrangements, so. Assuming that they follow through on that plan, they won't be a tax levy.
Right.
Give you all a chance to ask anything you want to know. All right. Hearing no further discussion, we'll call the question of the resolution. Those in favor? That's carried.
You missed 8-5.
G4.
Oh, okay. Well, it's so small.
Yeah.
So G4, as you may recall, was going to be Monday this week. And several of us had some concerns about that being the middle of harvest, plus it being the middle of a holiday weekend. The town decided they would hold it anyway. And then they canceled it because not enough people were going to attend. So they've come up with a new date, which is October 20th. It's at 6:30 at the Veterans Hall in Swan. We need commitment from who is going. So far, we have commitment from Councillor Neely, from myself, and from the CAO. Councillor Burick will attend. Councillor Zbirun will attend.
Should be done harvest by then.
Councillor Kushniryk is going. Good job. Councillor Blosha, what say you?
Yeah, I think I should be, that's on what, Monday
It's a
again?
Monday.
Should be able to make that.
And Councillor McGregor, what are your thoughts?
And
Is
you
it
said,
supper at 6:30, meeting at 7?
you said at Veterans Hall?
Veterans, yeah. So if you couldn't make 6:30, 6:30,
6:30?
but the meeting probably doesn't start till 7. Supper's first, so if you miss a few minutes of supper, you can still catch up.
6:30 supper. October 20th, right? I got it on my phone, but it's in the truck.
Side. $6:30 on the 20th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it'll be a top time in the old town if you want to go. Good job, everybody. We'll move to 8-7. So a couple things here. Meadowy Lane, Westman Cable is installing a vault and some conduit for cabling, so that's information. And then if you've ever thought to yourself, gee, that hydro pole looks rotten, attached is a map of all the hydro poles that are rotten, that are going to be replaced in the next little while. Again, for information, if either of these, if we had some objection, we could bring it forward, but really, we don't like rotten hydro poles more than the next guy, so it's probably just as well to replace them. So unless somebody has some reason to object, those are just for information tonight. Let's skip 8-8, we'll bring it back with the other bylaw, 8-9. So we have an application from Skylar Barkman, we've got a resolution to go with it. Be it resolved, the application from Skylar Barkman for 24-inch CMP culvert installation on municipal right-of-way of Road 162 between northeast 3636 28 west 1 and northwest 31 36 27 west 1 be approved. Is there someone to move the resolution? Councillor Neely, who would like to second it? Councillor Zbirun. Now, Councillor Neely attended out there with the CAO and myself at Public Works one day, and Jason Tomsky to look at this. So this is the mapping that's been provided to Mr. Tomsky from the landowner. They're going to do a little ditching there to resolve a water problem. They need the culvert through the road, of course, to resolve that as well, which is fine. So this is, do you want to speak to us more?
No, I was just asking, is Jason okay with all this now?
This came from him?
Oh, this map?
Yep, so this is him wanting us to sign off on this being
Skylar
okay.
wants to send it to him and he sent it to us,
Yeah,
okay.
so, yeah, Skylar's, I think, done what he needed to do.
Well, if Jason's happy, I mean,
I don't know. Well, and Skylar will be happy too, because this is what he wanted.
no, I
to
know
solve
he
the
will, but I
problem.
mean, if he's happy, we're happy, right? And it only took since, right after the last election, that was the first thing I did, to go there.
It's a good thing there's 4 years between elections. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. 8-10. We want to ping council on opinions. Part of our proposal for the landfill was to install electricity there. We haven't done that yet. Are you good if we go ahead and get quotes on putting electricity in there? That's fine.
I thought we had said we wanted quotes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's on the list. I just want to make sure that
It'd be hydro,
everybody's here.
around to a hydro.
Yeah. Well, there'll be two. There'll be a hydro price and there'll also be an electrician price.
Right.
There'll be one pole from hydro and a transformer. Okay, we will get the CAOC quotes on that and bring something back, hopefully for next meeting. 811, this is here maybe because I'm a jerk sometimes, but specifically, don't laugh.
I never, you laughed, I didn't. You started it.
Specifically, when someone brings us a donation amount, they can say the general area it is for, but they're not allowed to say the specific thing it is for. So this donation for $15,000 was brought in saying it's for Benito Recreation Center. It's from the church in Benito. So finance asked if we wanted to actually go to the recreation center as cash, if we wanted to apply it to something else like the insurance, or if we want to go to recreation. I said, I'm not making that decision. I'll let council make that decision. So do you want to just flow this through as a check to the recreation center? Is that your preference? Or do you want to do something else? Councillor Neely, I'd love to hear your
No,
thoughts.
we got a lot of Bonito people here, so
Yeah, okay.
what
So-
do they think? Like,
Everybody's good with that? Okay, so we'll get, you'll see as a check here next round probably, and the money will flow through to the rec center. 812, M&M's. Inspection.
now I
reports.
can laugh.
Yeah, I laugh at that too.
It's not as bad as you think.
Oh,
Nobody
yeah.
hasn't fallen down.
But even the last one is what,
worse.
the report at the very end, yeah.
Who made that report?
So that was Mr. Jones. We're not going to go and do it because the other guy's been working at it for a year and hadn't got there yet. So the report shows that foundationally, this is the old restaurant, obviously we know as M&M's in Benito. We obtained it through tax sale. Most of the concrete foundation is good except for the south wall. And it certainly has got some pictures here. I would suspect, knowing the history of that building, that failure's happened a very long time before last winter. Because that building sat empty for a number of years and then was used again for a number of years and now is empty again. And so, yeah, obviously it's cracked, but in all that time it hasn't managed to actually have that wall collapse inside. So it's probably less of a huge deal that he sees it to be because he's seeing it for the first time, but I suspect that wall's looked like that for 20 years now. It doesn't seem to be going many places. Now the rest of the report is probably worse. So it shows there's some rot occurring where the water's been leaking into the kitchen. He's got some photos in there of a couple of floor pieces that are pretty rough. The electrical box is corroded, which is really quite unfortunate, but it's only money, right? If somebody wanted to fix it up. He remarks that salvageable parts of the building is about 80% of the foundation, 30% of the walls. Repair the main floor of the kitchen will require removal of 3 walls. Mold and fungi throughout may prevent salvage of otherwise viable parts. He says he would not advise anyone to attempt to reuse the structure. And of course, he's in the business of selling new structures too. And certainly it was in really bad shape the last time it got fixed up and used as a restaurant. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities that someone could choose to fix it up again. But it's here for council to give some deliberation to. The other option is we could tear the thing down. Councillor Burick,
Is this the restaurant in the corner?
right in the corner.
Okay, you don't want my opinion yet, eh?
Well, I'd love to hear your opinion.
Tear it down, clean it up, put a nice picnic bench there or something.
I need a donut to feel better before we get into this discussion.
According to this fella, gotta take everything off except the 3 cement walls. And
Oh, look at the building, like, I mean,
replace one
like,
cement wall and then put a new top on
That's all it would take.
it. Yeah,
that's all it would take, yeah. Might as well start from scratch if you're gonna do all of it.
cheaper to start from scratch.
That
Exactly.
would be,
No, there's nothing to fix there, there's nothing to work with. There's nothing to work with, according to pictures.
It's rough. It's probably like the old town office, right?
No, there's nothing like this.
I know it was way worse than this. Every wall in that place was black. There was not a piece of wall that wasn't black. There were mushrooms growing over the floors. When we got to the ceiling, the entire ceiling had collapsed.
Huh.
And we still fixed it. And it cost us with the roof about $80,000 to fix it. And it's a much bigger building. So if somebody really wanted to fix this, they could. Are they going to? Well, no one's beating down our door. You know?
Didn't we have a delegation here that wanted to buy it?
Well, they were going to come, but they haven't been here yet.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a,
And then, you know, there is another person in Benito that's expressed interest in buying it and renovating it.
Laundromat and
laundromat and
So-
arcade thing or something?
Games and arcades.
So I guess where I'm going is if we're kind of the opinion of tear it down, which I think many of us will be, could we for a couple weeks just kind of make known that this thing's gonna be torn down if no one comes forward for it? If someone comes forward and is willing to do something, fine, otherwise the writing's on the wall. Is that fair? And if anyone's crazy enough to take it on, they can.
But if it's for commercial use, it would not have to be inspected.
Oh, yeah.
The floor is no, or the wall in the basement's no good.
They'd have to do some work. But then again, Benito Hotel was kind of in that same spot. Not along it comes, right? $200,000 into that hotel and it's gonna be a hotel again. If somebody wants to dump money into this building and fix it, they could. But otherwise, we'll salvage whatever we can salvage out of it and tear it down.
But what I'm getting, I wouldn't inspect to make them replace that one wall in the basement.
It's a Part 9 building, so they would have to take that up with Mr. Dodd. If they didn't do any other structural work in the basement, they may not have to do it, but
The roof's leaking, the floor's rotten, the wall's not so good. There isn't much left except the cement.
it's a pretty fair assessment. Yeah,
So-
and that wall in the basement didn't get that bad last year. Like,
Oh, no,
this
it-
isn't a matter of, oh gee, if we'd acted
It
quicker.
happened over time.
This has been like that for a long time. I don't like tearing buildings down, Benito, but there's some you just can't save.
Well, exactly, yeah, and you don't wanna tear it down, but I mean, look at the pictures, like, I mean, it's just, I wouldn't know where to go.
Well, and then it's an eyesore in front of our nice Legion. We could use it as a Legion parking lot.
Okay, so I think the direction we've got is we'll make it known to the world that if no one comes forward with a plan for this, it's gotta go. And if you have a plan for it, you better have some deep pockets. Okay. 813, which some of you won't have on your agenda because it was new, the video crack sealing. Councillor Kushniryk has been talking to a firm out of Saskatchewan that does do crack sealing because we're 2 years at it now and we certainly haven't managed to do it. So you want to give us a bit of an update of what you learned from them?
Not a whole lot. So I've got a quote, I don't know if you have it.
Not on me, but it's about 50,000.
Yeah, it's about 50,000. They would come in and do all the crack sealing in town. They'll do a second stage next year where they come do over in Jeremy's area and the airport road would have to get quotes for that. But they think they could do it up this year yet. I forget what it was, a rubber-based compound that they use. That's the bulk of it. I mean, our roads are getting pretty bad, and if we don't do it, another spring's gonna be really hard on them.
It's about an 8-man crew when they do that.
It, probably a fair size, I'm not really sure, but I know that 2 years ago we did budget the amount for it. Sitting there, it's just never been done.
And we
So
get-
that you're saying this year they do the pot and drive area and?
No, this year he came to Benito already and looked, he said he could do Benito probably this fall, yeah. And then next year in phase 2, he'd come do,
So it's
price out the rest.
50 this year.
yeah.
is-
And we knew, if you remember when we budgeted the 50, we didn't think that would be enough to do everything, but
Cause when we budgeted the 50, I believe we budgeted it for there as well. Not just for Benito. Right.
Which is
We
50 in
budgeted
general.
the
yeah, we just did 50
General.
saying we know it won't be enough.
Do it in 2 stages then.
Yeah, cause we can budget for the
Yeah, I
next
think we'd
on the
plan to
next
just come in
one.
next summer and do all the other half
Seems like a
roads.
lot of money, but it's a lot cheaper than new pavement.
Yeah,
It is, and, you know, we're not manned enough to get it done.
Well, we keep trying, but then you gotta find somebody to do it, that's a
Mhm.
big, I think, I forget if it was the town that did it that time, or by the airport, quite a few years back.
Probably, we did it ourselves, it's gotta be 6 years ago, 7 years ago?
But there was between
Wow.
6 and 8 people working over there.
Yeah,
Sweeping and cleaning
yeah, and we're bound to be slower than these guys, so if you start adding up our hours on that many men for a couple weeks or whatever it takes us.
and go for, do it ourselves.
Yeah,
We haven't got enough men to do
It
what
would
we
be-
have to do.
yeah, that's why I started looking at this, cause I thought it's just not gonna happen. So So it's there, the money's sitting there. It's just whether or not we wanna do it.
Well, we budgeted for it previously. When was that in the budget? A year
It's 2
back?
years, isn't it?
When we started, we've been bringing it forward, so I think it's in the current budget. I'll just pull it up.
It just keeps moving forward every year.
Yeah, we've just been bopping along, so it hasn't happened.
He didn't look at the pot and
He
drive,
didn't come that far.
west wind area over there till over.
Not yet. I would think when he comes out and does it, he'd come in and look, so we'd have a plan for
Yeah, and then
next
he's
year.
got the airport road, that's all.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's getting pretty, there's some divots in it, there's some holes there that should be.
Filtered
I
in.
don't know if they do that or not. That's not crack sealing, that's.
I saw a small paving outfit somewhere today.
Yeah,
Well, they're in town doing patching for the town. AS, they call it Asphalt Services or something. They did out.
Are they the ones out of Alberta?
Mm-hmm.
Last year we had an outfit out of Alberta here.
I kinda think they are.
They are?
So, we have, for pavement patching this year, was $75,000 budgeted, we spent 203.
Yeah, we better get it done.
Well, let's do Benito this year if we can, and then the other ones get done next year for sure. We can last another year when we're winter.
Well, and if this guy comes here and gives us a quote real quick, if he's got time, maybe he can do it all. You know? Who knows?
I think we have, well, I know we didn't budget for it though. There's some in reserve.
Yeah, we got 75 sitting there. We could talk to the say yes place about Airport Road
Yeah, at least get
and
that.
see, you know, we could, if we did burrito crack ceiling, and maybe we could get a chunk of Airport Road, the worst part of it. Some asphalt on it or something, I don't know. Like where the holes are, it's gonna need something more than just crack sealing.
Yeah, there's, you know, it's not punched out yet, but it will be. Mostly on the south side of the, well, there's some on the north side.
Okay, well, let's talk public works first thing in the morning. And we'll talk about the other thing, but let's see if we can't get them to also talk to this asphalt crew over in town to at least go there and look at Airport Road.
Yeah, maybe they can just quickly do it.
Well, they can at least tell us, well, they're standing here anyway. Tell us, what are we looking at to fix this problem? You know, is it repave it, or is it patch it, or is it, what can we do? Rather than when they're back home and we say we'd like a quote, and they're like, well, next time we're in the area.
Well, where that new, quick lube thing is in that office, right in the corner there, the airport road and highway 10.
That is, that's where I saw them today. So yeah, they're right there.
They patched that, it's been like that since the construction started on the new places when they dug in water lines and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Today they finished her off, and when you go on that pavement, you can hardly feel it. It just, where they patched it, they did a really nice job.
Nice. Okay. So it's 8:15, let's spend a little time on bylaws. So we will go back to the easier one of the two first, which is 8.3, commercial and industrial building incentives bylaw. So this has not had a first reading yet, so this is just simply proposed. This is proposed to be bylaw 011525. So I got text printed out because we thought we liked dead trees a lot easier than looking at it on the computer. So this is the first time council's looking at this, but we've talked about this a couple times. So this bylaw provides for incentives for certain construction, and that construction is commercial or industrial property. It does not provide incentives for residential construction, which is what we talked about here. We didn't want to do that. So it defines the areas as Benito, Durban, Kenville, and the greater Swan River area, so those urban areas. It does allow council on a case-by-case basis to choose to extend it to rural areas if in the determination of council specific project or it's an incentive. So if something came up, it allows that, but it doesn't promise it. Into page 2, provincial incentives. Refund of up to 2 years of an incremental tax increase may be offered by council under the bylaw. Incentives are applied in calendar years. It's recommended the incentive be for the second or third year of taxation to maximize financial benefit of those receiving assistance. If requested, the incentive may be applied to year 1 and 2, but no adjustments will be made for the lower incentive received for the partial year. The idea here is that normally when you're done your construction, say you're done in March, well, your assessment goes up, but only for 3/4 of the year. So you're better off to do it in year 2 when you're paying for that full year of taxes.
They would just, be forgiven the increase in assessment.
Just the
whatever
increase.
the dollar value
Yeah.
comes.
That's where B gets into. Incentives are calculated on the difference between the previous assessment and the new assessment once construction is completed.
Okay.
Only the increased portion of the taxation is eligible for refund. Refunds are only offered once taxes are paid. So you pay us first, then we refund the money to you. It's not a matter if you just don't pay. And that relates to the rules. We can't not charge taxes, but we can refund as a grant later. So you still have to pay your tax bill, but you can get the same amount back. Into 6, any taxpayer wishing to receive the incentive must send a written request. The request must have the roll number and provide some details on what they did. On receipt, council must review the request. We must either approve it or deny it, or request further information. So you can't just ignore it. Something has to happen with it. Decisions to approve incentives must be made by a resolution that contains the pertinent details of the incentive, along with the information of the entity that will benefit from the incentive. So everyone can see in the minutes who gets it. In the event of a denial, council must provide written reasons for the denial and permit up to 2 reapplications with additional information. Incentives must be approved prior to March 31st in a given year for the refund to occur the same year. If approved after March 31st, the refund will be offered the following year. So that's about budgeting, because we would need to indicate the budget we're going to pay that out. So we're usually not done the budget by the end of March, so that's kind of the deadline. Decision is final from council. There's no appeal provisions except for reapplying up to 2 times. There's a section here for required advertising. This is just kind of getting at the idea of if you make this and nobody knows until after the fact, there's really no point doing it because you didn't actually encourage anything. So it suggests here that to ensure the availability of the program is well known and encourages new development, $1,000 must be spent each year on advertising it. That could either be done by the municipality or Swan Valley Rise could do it as part of the funding they give to Rise anyway, just to promote this. And that's the entire bylaw. So we're looking for thoughts from people. If there's massive changes, we'll take this away and bring it back before first reading. Otherwise, we could give it first reading tonight and then still have 2 more readings to go to make small changes to it.
I'd say give it first reading tonight.
I think it looks good. There's other municipalities that do this stuff all the time.
Yes. And Swan River does this. Theirs is a little more complicated because it's set out by this dollar value of this and all these rules, but it's the same basic idea.
And you say this is the first time, but we've actually seen it today. It was already, you could read it
Oh,
on.
yeah.
So-
The only thing that changed from what you saw is a number on it now.
Yeah,
Right.
no, because I read this one too, so. Yeah, I would just do a first reading.
Yeah, I think we should.
Be resolved that the council of the municipality of Swan Valley West read bylaw 0115-25 being known as the incentives bylaw, a first time this first day of October 2025. Is there someone to move the resolution? I see Councillor Burick and Councillor Neely. Any further discussion? If you think of changes to this, please tell someone before the next meeting so we can have the proposed text for changes to look at them for everybody. We'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. Let's spend a little time on the other bylaw. I don't know that we're gonna get through it tonight, but we have a little time before we take a break, so let's start in on it. So this is unsightly property. This is the much longer one of the 2. So we've looked at this some before. There's been some wording changes even from what you saw earlier today. So lots of this we've seen, but there's a couple things that we don't even know the answer to yet. So I want to start with one of those, and that is with vehicles.
What we got?
So, and you'll notice in the new version that you're seeing is just a bunch of blank points, because the answers, we just don't know what to put there. So what this bylaw proposes at current is that there's two kinds of vehicles. There's a derelict vehicle that's missing its wheels and parts of it, and it's basically a junk heap. And there's a vehicle that isn't derelict, but isn't registered. So if you have a registered vehicle, fine, you've got a registered vehicle, have as many as you want. You've got 20 registered vehicles, you have 20 registered vehicles. But if you don't have them registered, you must get some sort of permit from us saying it's okay to have them. That's totally up for debate here tonight, that's just what it says right now. And so the question is, what do you want to do? Do you want to have some sort of process where people have to say, can I have this vehicle? Do you want to say you can just have a couple vehicles? What do you want it to say?
Problem, some people don't register them over the winter or stuff like that. So it's sitting there all winter, then in the summer they run them and.
Well, the goal here wasn't to stop that. The goal is to stop 10 or 15 vehicles sitting in a lot
Oh, I know.
yard with all the engines pulled out and
Yeah.
the wheels
Yeah.
all off, right? Like,
I understand.
I understand
But-
that.
so we don't want to catch
But are
too
we
big a
gonna
net.
make those people
I know.
wanna do that? Are we gonna make them come in and do that every year? Or do we leave something like this up to the bylaw enforcement officer, the decision?
I think we had better provide them some direction, or else we may not like the results. You know, because I can foresee the very next thing we'll be sitting here saying, well, why'd they go after this person? They only have one vehicle and it should be allowed. Well, then let's say that we can do that, you know, like, let's not give too much of our authority away, because then we may not like the outcome.
Well, and sometimes you'll be fixing something, you're not licensing it till you get it up and running, but you're working on it.
Well, and there's somebody that has vintage vehicles, I wouldn't be opposed to paying for a permit. Because,
I know, but for the people that, say, don't drive the car in the winter, so they don't register, they just, well, some people have to keep it.
well, I think most people would put layup insurance on it
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, mostly, like you do with your
Yeah,
snowmobiles and
which
stuff.
technically it's still registered, it's just this layup insurance, right?
But if some people don't and it's sitting there, there's nothing wrong with it. So I wouldn't wanna be harping on those
Do we
people
put
for nothing.
something in here that says you have to prove that you're registering it part of the year or something like that? I don't
Well,
know.
then-
I
So-
think that's opening a huge can of worms.
Well, right now, the old bylaws, bylaw enforcement is saying to someone, is that vehicle registered? And force them to show proof of registration, if a complaint comes. So it's not it's not going door to door saying, prove every single vehicle's registered. If there's a complaint and they're at your house, they're like, okay, what about this? Is this registered? And they're wanting to see it. So right now, we've been doing some of that. But we could soften it, say, as long as it's been registered within the last year, you don't have to do anything. You know, if it's an issue of, you know.
Yeah, if it's an issue
summer,
that's
not
sat there
winter.
for 10 years and it's full of mice, that's totally different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I
But
can
it's
think
totally
of
different
some-
in a farmyard as well.
Well,
like-
it doesn't apply to.
It is.
Yeah,
farmland
it
at
doesn't
all.
apply to a farmyard at all. Cause you know how that is, you keep a lot of things for parts
Absolutely.
and there's no.
intention this applies to
No.
farmland.
No, I knew this
Yeah.
was a town thing, but I still think it needs a little bit of leeway.
So what would you like it to say? Because we can write anything down, but we have to write something down, so we know what it says.
Yeah, I guess if it says that the vehicle's been registered within the last year, leave it alone.
Yeah.
Cause you know that it's gonna get a license again.
Well, worst case, if it is a disaster, like I think if the wheels are off and it's engine.
That's different.
That's different to begin.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah,
kind of what I
she's
was
on
going
blocks.
at.
And the motor and trailing is going.
Well,
I was just going that you should be able to park an extra vehicle in your yard even if it's not.
Okay. So
Not
you said
10.
A, is it 1, is it 2, is it 5? Let's put some numbers to it. What do you want to be able to do?
No more than 2 extra. Cause you don't have that much room there.
Some do, some
Some,
don't.
yeah.
Some do, like I think two.
I think 2
I
is
think 2, like,
reasonable.
Two vehicles in the yard, you mean?
2
two with-
vehicles unregistered
With wheels.
with,
They should
like,
have wheels,
Oh.
not on blocks or anything.
wheels,
your other
glass,
vehicles are
and-
registered, you can park them
Even
wherever
glass
you
could be, if you
want.
could say you're gonna do one of your old cars,
Mhm.
and then you gotta bring home a parts car. well, you're gonna maybe have to cut a chunk of the floor out of one side, or you're gonna maybe take some parts off of it. You wanna have to start buying permits for that, as long as you're actively doing something with it and it's not just there to sit and rot. I've got one in my yard right now that would break this bylaw. I have zero intention to touch it for at least a year. I can't register it.
But the other point is too, like if I was gonna bring it home and use it for parts, I would have no problem with paying $25 a year or even 50. I wouldn't even bat an eye at it, it's worth it.
But
But
should
it
you
would
have
save,
to?
well, it just gives you an incentive to get it the heck out of there.
So if I would work and have a pile of lumber out by my garage, should I pay a permit for it?
But I'm talking about people that have extra
Well,
vehicles
we all
that,
have wood beside our garages.
cause I know
Sure.
somebody who has 2 cars and a truck, and they don't register the truck half the year.
Well, and then there's also the other thing too, you could have someone that's got a medical thing going on, and they can't register for a while.
Exactly.
Which I get that, but I mean,
But
Yeah, I wouldn't,
it's
I
usually
don't
got wheels
wanna, I don't
on it.
wanna see them pay a permit
well,
for
the
it.
wheels on it. It's
I
one
feel like
piece.
2 vehicles that are well kept, you know,
Yeah.
you tried to organize, we aren't stepping on anyone's toes too much. I don't know, I feel like if you got a permit a car to bring it home and take parts off it, we're really overstepping
Yeah.
kind of what we.
So playing devil's advocate, I can think of a location, but where there's a vehicle that has its wheels on, but they've been flat for at least 3 years.
That's different.
Yep.
So it's never been touched in 3 years. What is that vehicle?
That's more or less an abandoned vehicle, they have no intention of doing anything to it.
Yeah. it's not
But,
been-
but you've got a 14-year-old kid who wants to bring home a truck and fix it up.
So what about the one you have that's gonna be a year before you touch it? How do we capture that that's okay, but the one that's been there for 3 years with flat tires isn't?
Well, I haven't seen this particular one, but my one has air in the tires, it will be touched. It, you know, more or less how your overall yard is and the appearance and, you know, I don't think that would be it, is it, how well kept is it? Have you done anything with it? 3 years is excessive.
So is it realistic for a parts vehicle to expect the wheels are on? Or is there going to be an issue with some people who have a parts vehicle and they would take the rims off because they're using that for something else? I want to explore so we get.
That's what I was just gonna say, I mean, what if your parts vehicles, you got that vehicle for the rims? So you bring it home, put it up on blocks and take the rims off and,
You probably took rims off your other vehicle then to move
Yeah.
it. It would be, yeah, like
so you got your summer tires on one set of rims and you got your winter tires on the other set of rims,
Yeah.
so now what?
buy some steelies. I don't know. Like to me, even if you had it on blocks nicely, I wouldn't care. It's about how you've kept everything around it. If it's slapped on an angle sideways in the front lawn, it's probably not belonging there.
No, there's some language in some other municipality bylaws that deal with if it's on the front lawn or not. And they say you can have this, but it has to be behind the house.
Yeah.
You know, or behind a fence where you can't see it. So you could go down that path of, you know, if this is on the front lawn, it's never okay. But if it's behind the house where it doesn't bother anybody, it's more okay.
Didn't it used to be that way that if you put a fence around your vehicles so that it can't be seen from the road type thing, wasn't that?
The old
That's one
bylaw
thing.
has some stuff.
Like you gotta think, Byron, in terms of, so when you drive by my place, do you see the vehicle I'm talking about?
I
No.
never noticed, but I mean.
Yeah,
you know.
it's back. You gotta
Okay.
keep it out of sight, I don't want it up. But, if you go 3 yards away from me, do you notice the vehicles in that yard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it won't apply to them.
No, because they're on the other side of the line.
Yep.
Well, and there's the 2 in my.
Well, it does apply to them because they're in an urban area.
They still considered urban, even though they're on the
I'm
other side.
happy for that, that's part of the urban area.
Then there's the 2 in my yard by where the hedge is, by the garden shed. Unless you know they're there, you won't see
Yeah.
them. They're parked back to back, tires are up, glasses in them.
Yeah, I guess
Most
it's
Yeah, it's not like
most
they're
of the
gonna-
interior
it's
was
not-
taken out
Not
before
like
it
they're
was
gonna
parked
fall
there.
on, not like they're gonna fall on anyone or.
Yeah.
This is also
That's what I
applied
mean.
South of Government Road around.
See, I've been
That's part
thinking of
the
this in
area.
terms of just the LUD boundary.
No, this is,
So this applies to your yard.
not to his.
No.
He's not in the urban area. But
but
to that
Is it
strip
not on
along
that new gray
road,
area?
government road allowance it doesn't
Government road
apply
allowance,
to,
but
but
that
not
road,
Byron.
all the houses on that side are part of the urban area, but across the road, the farmland is not.
But we're gonna have the west side of 83,
That's all part of it.
backside of
South and Farm.
Bartog's and all there,
Mhm.
83 heading
200.
south towards the highway. See, there's lots of cans of worms with that vehicle, and
But there's like some of that's really, really out of hand right now.
some of it absolutely is. But I mean, there's a place in Kenville where he keeps his all lined up pretty nice in his yard. I'm sure there's 6 or 8 that probably aren't registered. That's and it's probably one of the better kept yards in that town.
So with animals, we say you can have 3 dogs. After 3 dogs, you have to come for permission. You say you can have 2 vehicles, and after that, you have to get some permission, and as long as you're looking after them, we say it's fine.
That's actually not a bad idea.
But that's back to the permitting thing, right? Because it would be some type of permit that is getting someone, whether it's here or whether it's just bylaw, someone saying, well, you're looking after them, it's not a disaster, yes, you can do this.
It's actually a good idea.
It's probably the safest way to try it. I don't feel a guy who's done well should be punished
No.
for the one who didn't.
Well, and the thing is, the ones that we're kind of going towards are well-kept yards with people that just have an extra vehicle that they don't want to register all the time. Or,
And that's
or
not-
that they're fixing
wasn't
one.
our point. Our point was the disaster.
I know
Not
exactly
the
what our
other
point
places.
is, but the point is, this doesn't say that.
Yeah, we have to make it.
We have to
say-
make it say that.
Yes. Okay.
Because you know what's gonna happen, as soon as you go say something about this, they're gonna say to you, well, what about this?
Yeah.
What about this?
Okay.
Yeah.
We had a call today from someone that received a bylaw letter and listed off 4 other properties they want us to chase after.
Yeah.
If you're gonna chase me, then you gotta go get all of
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
That's just human nature, you know? And we have to write it so that we capture that idea we have of this is okay and this isn't, and here's how you tell. Other than just how we feel that day. Okay. So let's start from the top and get through some of the less contentious parts of this. The first page really is nothing, so it gets to page 2, the community zones. So we've talked about this a bit. Municipality is large, and there's different expectations depending on where you are. So this says there's urban areas, so Benito, Urban, Kendall, the greater Swan River area is shown in the maps, which I admit aren't here tonight, but we did have them at one point. So essentially, in Benito, which was where we were just discussing, it picks up that residential on the other side of 83, it picks up south of Road 200, that residential area, but essentially just the residential doesn't pick up any of the farmland. It lets us have a special area, and that special area can be updated by resolution of council, so it doesn't require redoing the bylaw. If you're part of the special area, we must list why you're part of it and what doesn't apply, essentially. So this was envisioned for if we say, well, let's talk egg shield. That's quite a thing there. And yet we're kind of okay with it because it's a commercial business, but you know, there's no fence, and maybe there should be. So we could define that as a special area that some parts of the rules don't apply to. But we'd have to come up with some reasons why, or else the rules should be enforced. And then the rural areas, which should be C here, but it's showing as B. Rural areas, which is basically all farmland. And then it goes on to say for rural areas, the only things that apply is unsafe structures, noxious weeds, and numbering signs. So they're basically exempted from everything except those. And then it gets into the actual standards. So it says community standards apply to all urban areas, and further apply to all special areas unless otherwise stated in Appendix B special areas. So you could conceivably, if you went the other direction, you could make a rural area be special and apply to Rule 2 if you had to. 7.1, property maintenance. All property must be maintained to a suitable standard to an urban area which is not a detriment to surrounding area and does not show signs of disregard for general maintenance, including loose litter, feces, garbage, or refuse must be removed. Smelly or messy compost heaps are not permitted. Long grassy weeds are not permitted. Any tree, shrub, or other type of vegetation or any structure which interferes with any public work or utility or obstructs any sidewalk, impairs visibility of safe traffic flow, or becomes a nuisance by encroaching on neighboring premises is not permitted. What are your thoughts on 7.1? Is everybody okay with that? Okay. 7.2, ground cover. All residential properties shall be protected by suitable ground cover which prevents erosion of soil. What are our feelings on that? Are we okay with it?
Yeah, it's grass or
Yep.
gravel.
And most of these are just
Most
lifted
of
from
those,
the
yeah.
previous bylaws. 7.3, derelict vehicles. So we're just gonna skip this. We will rewrite this based on our previous discussion. 7.4 will be rewritten as well. 7.5, ATV and other vehicles. All motorized vehicles that are not subject to normal registration by Manitoba Public Insurance must display permanently affixed readable identification numbers issued by the municipality to aid in the identification of those operating vehicles in a dangerous manner. This is new, we've never had this before. And the intention of this was the ATVs and dirt bikes and stuff running around Benito. To not stop them, because we can't, but to make them be identified in some way. So if they're messing around, people, when they call the police, can say, it was number 17 that did it. What are our thoughts on that? Do we want to do it, or do we want to take it out here?
Well, the ATVs, you're supposed to have them, you're supposed to have a license on them,
Supposed to?
If they're on a public road, you're supposed to.
$50.
Actually,
40.
Yeah.
lots of ATVs aren't allowed on public
Yeah,
roads.
but if they're.
Like
if
dirt
they're-
bikes and that.
Yeah, but if they're, yeah, actually technically.
Certain dirt bikes.
But they're supposed to, up there on a public road, they are supposed to be licensed.
But many of them can't be licensed.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening in Benito is illegal.
Yeah,
Most of those dirt bikes and ATVs.
Yeah, well, they
should
shouldn't be on the
those
street
roads.
at all, yeah.
But we can't take them off the street because we're not the RCMP. So the only reason this got in here was that a lot of people are like, well, who's it, this one, is it that one, who did this? So if there's a number on it, you can at least say this is the number of it, if you're complaining about it. But we could just take it out completely, it doesn't have to be here, that's why we're here discussing it. Is it worth doing, do we not do it at all?
That's a police matter, not us.
Okay, so are we saying don't put numbers on them, don't have anything for that, just
Well,
basically free range like it is now?
They're gonna do something goofy, they're gonna take the number off it.
yeah.
You know, like,
Well,
Blade.
maybe be some hope that if
Maybe
your
if you put
parents
a
put the
number
number
on
on it, and the kids are like, well, people know who it is, maybe they behave better. I don't know if they would or not.
I don't think people would put them on.
No, I don't think so either. I think we should just take that out there.
this would be a hard one to police.
And I phone in and complain, and you come get me, and I say, how do they know what the number was? Did they read it right? Did they get it right? Prove that was me.
Yeah.
I think it'd be very
And
tough.
then we step
Well, it
in.
wasn't me, he just got it out for me.
Okay, so we'll strike 7.5 in its entirety. Everybody's good with that? 7.6, rodents. All structures and stored material must be kept free of rodents. Everybody's good with that?
Yep.
7.7, storage of items, residential. The storage of any vehicles or other items in residential yards must be done in such a way as to not adversely affect the visual well-being of the neighborhood.
That's kind of what we were talking about.
Well, it goes back to not parking a wreck on the front lawn,
Yeah.
right? Makes
So
sense.
then I would leave that
Makes
there.
sense to me.
So how does this apply to the guy who parks a camper out in the open and the neighbor doesn't like it?
Oh,
And
Well,
this-
the next guy might say that wouldn't bother me at all, and one guy says it's horrible, so what's our,
Well, the camper shouldn't be parked in the front yard either.
yeah.
That shouldn't be your storage area for the winter.
in the city.
no, but in summer you see it quite often.
Yeah, well, in the summer, you bring it home, you clean it out, it should
A
be
lot of times
gone.
they're actually.
Is it in the yard or is it on the road?
If it's in the yard, it's a little different.
Some, it'd be 50-50, I would think. Maybe, most ones coming to mind are more on the road.
Yeah. See, the lawyer in me says that if it's in use because someone's staying in it, that's not storage, that's in use.
Mhm.
But if it's sitting there for months, this is where we
Storage.
leave it for months, that becomes a storage issue. Suggest a change.
I can't think of anything that captures it. That's the thing, I can see somebody complaining, but I can't think of a way to.
Well, this is an existing one. 7.7 and 7.8 are lifted from the old legal bylaw. So they've been in force for a while. 7.8 is much the same as the commercial one. Storage of any items on commercial property must be done in such a way It's not adversely affects the visual well-being of the community unless the storage area is defined and enclosed in a approved fence and visually screened. So this gives commercial the option to build a fence around the junk. If you can't see it, that's fine. But that same option doesn't apply to residential in this particular version.
In the city, you can't even park your camper in your driveway.
No, there's no room.
After a certain date, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to have it in a storage facility, yeah.
So, to circle to the camper thing, are we suggesting there should be a specific rule about campers and yards? Or do you want to leave it?
Well, if it fits in your yard, fine, albeit, as long as it's not in your front
Don't a lot of
yard.
places have where you
on
only
the-
have 24, 48 hours or something to even have it for loading, prepping to use it, and out?
As I gave someone else a lecture the other day, we're not other places.
Yeah.
We
I
can
just
make our own
can't think.
rules. But, yeah, like whatever we decide, but we should live with what we decide.
So I
and
feel
not
like
be
if it
constantly
fits
saying, oh,
in
well, we're
your
not gonna
backyard,
force
put it in
this.
your backyard and leave it. Or if it fits in your
Yeah.
driveway and it's not, you know what I mean?
I think 90% of them are fine, I'm just thinking of two in particular.
Oh, yeah. But lots of people, they like to take it out of the yard in the winter and they store it somewhere else because they need to plow snow,
Yep.
which is the normal thing to do. But normally, yeah, you bring it home in the summer, you go back and forth to the lake. I have no problem with it sitting there then. As long as it's not on someone else's front property.
So I don't think 7.7 was ever envisioned for campers. So if you wanted something specific for campers, you can write it. But I think it was just a general, it must look nice.
Like,
When a camper could look nice in the front yard if you had the grass mowed around it.
Well, if you're, yeah.
yeah, I don't know, it's
the
worked
same
for
as
this
your-
long.
It's the same as your wood pile. If your wood pile's spread all over your front yard, that's compared to a nice stack. That's kind of what that's trying to capture. Okay, so we'll leave it for now. 7.9 drainage. Discharges and downspouts shall prevent the discharge of water onto any external stairs, landings, walkways, or adjacent premises or roadways, and should direct water away from buildings. Any concerns? 7.10 numbering signs. So this is new. All residential or commercial buildings must have affixed to the street side of the building the civic address number assigned to the property. In the case of rural areas, this requirement is met with the installation of a civic address sign at roadway access to the property. Rural address signs must be maintained by property owners to be free of obstructions, straight and in the designated location to be easily be seen by first responders. In the case of a missing rural address sign, the property owner is responsible for reporting the missing sign to the municipality for replacement, which may or may not be billed to the property owner dependent on current municipal policy. How are our feelings on that? And what would you like that policy to be? Just replace them for free or bill somebody for replacing them?
If somebody's.
Depends on the circumstances.
Yeah, if somebody stole it.
Somebody steals it on
Somebody
you.
stole it, it's not your fault.
If you mowed it down yourself, it might be your fault.
Yeah, well,
Well-
you should own up to that. Or if our grader hits it.
Yeah, but later.
Because that might be happening on a few I noticed.
Okay. 7.11, unsafe structures. All structures must be kept in good repair and must ensure the safety of the public. So this one applies to rural areas too. This is one of the few that do, but it's very vague, you know. I think what was envisioned in framing here was if you have an old grain bin in the middle of nowhere, that's not really a concern, even if the roof is collapsing.
You shouldn't be on that
Because it
property,
shouldn't be
actually.
there, the public, you know, but if you happen to have something sitting right beside the town, maybe that's more of a concern, but it left it really vague. 7.12, noxious weeds, no property shall allow noxious weeds to grow or produce seed. Does anyone have any further questions of discussion or suggestions on the standards? Those are pretty much all ones that were brought over. Some of the stuff we didn't like was removed already.
So at 7.12, about noxious weeds, where are we talking about that?
All of it.
The entire municipality.
Entire
Okay,
municipality.
what
That's why
happens-
we got a weed.
Okay, what happens if I'm an organic farmer and I can't spray my land?
Your weeds are not.
They are, I have bad weeds this year. This year I had bad thistles. Canada thistle, south thistle is bad this year.
Good thing nobody reported it.
Okay, but I mean,
Because
what,
the weed inspector would come out and would force you to remove those.
how do you remove them?
Any way you want. If you can't spray them, no, tell them something.
Okay. We should include something in there if you're a registered organic farmer, then you're exempt or something?
But
Or you're exempt or you just definitely not spray them. Like, you don't have to
You can't
it.
spray, you can't spray,
But
but,
you could do something else.
you could work it in.
yeah, but you're working your crop in.
I know, but if it's blowing into the next guy's field, that's not right.
I know what happens with highways too, the highways are full of south thistle too, south thistle, Canada thistle all from number 10 from Swan Bozeman. What do you do with highways?
Well, they gotta keep it mowed.
They don't.
You should be sent to the inspector after we
Yeah.
issue an order.
The highways,
Yeah.
Because we can. We have the authority.
because they have, there's thistles in the highways, like, but in my case, like I say, the situation I was, nobody reported me, but I mean, one person did make a comment. I think I showed you that comment, or maybe, I don't know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, what do you do in that situation? Like, I mean, you cut a crop down, like,
What happens right now is that the weed inspector shows up and has a conversation and tries to come to some sort of solution. And I think they're probably looking for what the options are. I can't imagine they're gonna try to cut the whole crop down. But there's, you know.
No, because it happened in the Pretty Valley area not long ago. And before you guys were here, but just before. And yeah, they came to an agreement, was worked in the fall, sprayed, worked again in the spring before planted, like you gotta just work at it.
Couldn't you?
I know, but you
Okay,
can't.
you can work
can't
it
spray.
now at like a
Couldn't you
couple
work a
times.
border around it? So that-
Yeah, you could work a border around
You
it
can't, you
too.
can't spray it, because once you spray it, it's not certified organic for 3 years.
But a border all around so many feet or something, so, yeah.
This field that I have,
Well,
probably
cause
half,
you
would
notice
lose
the
part of
people
your
that, you
field.
notice the people that grow their crop for seed, they got borders around all their, because the same thing, they grow for seed, so they can't. So they got borders that they till year round.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna lose some of the land.
But it's not, it's very little, like,
Yeah.
it's just a small tiller, like,
8 feet or something.
yeah, it's not very big, like, I could do it with my little tractor.
8 or 10 feet, yeah.
There's ways around it, you just have, there's ways to control it, I believe. But the fields I'm talking about, it was the whole fields, and they had, like, now they're rented out and back to normal, but
okay,
I don't know.
Okay, vacant structures. It's more interesting. So this is from a different bylaw, moved into this one. No vacant structures permitted in the urban area unless the property is a valid vacant structure permit issued by the municipalities in compliance with the terms of this bylaw. So what makes you be vacant? Structures that are one or more of the following are considered to be vacant. Houses, commercial buildings, shops, or other structures that were at one time connected to electricity or are no longer connected to the electrical grid. So you cut the power off from your house, you're vacant. Houses that are vacant for a period of more than 30 days. Commercial buildings that are vacant for a period of more than 60 days. In the case of storage buildings that are not normally occupied, a vacant structure permit must be held. So if you have a building that's only for storage, you still have to have this permit. For the purpose of this section, vacant means not normally occupied on a regular basis by persons who reside or work at the location. So if someone's coming to work there once a week, that's not vacant, that's an in-use building. Vacant structure permits will be issued where a building is in compliance with the requirements of this bylaw upon the payment of a $250 fee to the municipality. Permits are valid for 12 months from the date of issue. A new permit is required every 12 months should the building remain vacant. Minimum requirements for vacant structures. Vacant commercial structures must be heated to a minimum temperature of 10 degrees Celsius at all times of the year, unless an assessment performed by a professional structural engineer licensed to practice in the province of Manitoba has determined it's acceptable and safe for the building to remain without heat. Vacant residential structures must be heated to a minimum temperature of 10 degrees Celsius at all times of the year. All vacant structures must have an operable burglary alarm system that is monitored by either an accredited alarm company or by the Swan Valley Chamber of Commerce Community Alarm Program. The alarm system must include a provision to alert if the building temperature falls below freezing and must include at least one monitored smoke detector. All entrances, windows, and other entry points must be secured in a manner as to deny entry to any unauthorized persons and to prevent rodent infestations. A fire plan must be filed with the municipality, which includes a 24-hour contact number for the owner, as well as key holder information to be used in the case of emergency or routine inspection. So what this is trying to get at is that you cannot have a house sitting freezing in the wintertime. If you want a vacant house, you keep it heated, you have an alarm system so you know if anyone gets in there, you have at least one smoke detector, so if something starts to go wrong, before we have a huge house fire, hopefully we're detecting that smoke, and the fire department is showing up to put the thing out and save it. As is any vacant structure that does not hold a valid vacant structure permit or does not comply with the minimum requirements is derelict. What do you think of those requirements?
Nothing wrong with those ones. With that house across the tracks, that's,
It's good for a lot, but again, I guess I like to disagree all the
That's
time.
fine, that's what we're here for, disagree.
But on the residential, 30 days doesn't seem, so I'm renting a house out, my renter moves out, and it takes me 2 months to rent it again, I gotta pay a $250 fee because I couldn't find a renter. I'm already unhappy because I was losing revenue. Or our dollar sucks, so there aren't many of these like there used to be, but snowbirds, they go away for a few months, they now have to meet all these requirements, pay a fee to go away. I don't know if those two
but,
groups.
but the people that go away are already doing almost all of these requirements except for the fee. Like, you're not leaving your house unheated or electrical cut
No,
off,
but you
you're
might
just
not have
shutting
an
your water
alarm or
off.
anything like that, you might not want.
Yeah, I understand the alarm thing, yeah, that might be a little, going a little too far.
So the alarm thing, we've seen in Swan, squatters getting into houses and being there for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
and no
Yeah,
alarms.
that's kinda scary.
Well, so that's, the alarm thing goes with fire alarm thing, because you have the alarm and smoke detector, then it calls someone if a fire starts, rather than finding out when the house is fully engulfed. So are you suggesting changing the 30 days to something? What would you like to see it be? Like it could be 6 months.
Yeah, I would think,
What's the snowboard can't be gone for more than 6 months, right?
no,
So you can go to 180 days if you want.
and if you
Because
haven't
we're
rented
not
your
trying
home.
to catch, again, we're not after the houses that someone goes away for a few months and comes back.
No.
We're after the houses that are sitting there for a year
Empty.
with no
Yes.
heat.
With the windows open,
Yeah,
Oh, we've got 2 or 3 of them,
Yeah.
you know, like,
I know.
we're trying to, basically bring the standards of the community up to, if you wanna have a house sit there for 2 years empty, it's gonna cost you some money, because you're gonna heat it and look after it. You're not gonna let it, for lack of a better term, melt down on itself for 5 years, and then we end up with it in tax sale.
Yeah.
Let's deal with this right away while that house is still savable. What would be a good number for residential? If that's the easiest way to solve that concern.
yeah, I think. I don't know what anyone else thinks on that. How long do you think is long enough?
4 months,
What's that?
4 months. Sixty, that's 120 days.
Well, we're gonna define vacant. So like vacant, if all your stuff's in it, you're coming back, is that house actually vacant?
No, like, I don't consider that vacant.
So maybe we just need to work on saying what vacant actually means. It means that no one's calling it a principal residence right now?
Or,
One,
no,
could you just put in wording and in the instance of a rental property, unable to find tenants is excluded, or?
yeah, that
You know.
makes sense, but not a house like I'm talking about where the windows have been open for
Yeah.
2 years, no heat, nothing. That's what I'm talking about, not,
'Cause if
so
you're-
we have to define vacant,
Yeah, if you're trying to rent it, you're looking after the house anyways.
yeah,
So-
exactly. Or if you go away for a few months in the winter,
Yes.
you're looking after your house.
And so we're saying B, for the purposes of section vacant means not normally occupied on a regular basis by persons who reside or work at a location.
Yeah,
So if you've gone away for a few months, do you still normally reside at a location? I would say you do. And so it wouldn't actually be vacant.
And I think insurance, for insurance purposes, somebody's supposed to check your house every
Oh,
couple of days
exactly.
or something like that.
yeah.
D could capture rental too, because it doesn't say the persons are the owners. It could be multiple different persons.
Put some thought into how we can structure that. We can make changes to it once we figure what they are. 9 all the way through 19, we don't need to deal with at the moment. Complaints, number 20. Inspections and enforcement of this bylaw may be triggered by any of the following, so this is different. A written complaint received by email, online concern form, or paper submission from any person affected by the alleged breach of the bylaw. So you have to have some sort of reason that you're affected. You can't just be from the city of Winnipeg and drive to our community and be mad at something. Referral by resolution from any committee of council. Verbal complaint to the CAO by any member of staff or elected official of the municipality, or any evidence submitted shall form part of the file for the concern. So right now, these bylaws provide that unless there's a written complaint, nothing can be done. And in many cases, even here, we'll say to the CEO, hey, check into this. Technically speaking, the old bylaw doesn't allow anyone to check that. But this does still require that the general public would have to do something in writing. It doesn't have to be on paper, it could be online, it could be email, but something other than a phone call. Are you okay with that, or do you want it to allow a phone call?
No, I think it should be in writing on paper.
Okay.
Who knows who you're talking to on the phone for sure.
Keep a paper trail.
Yeah, keep a paper trail, exactly. If you want to make a complaint, come and do it right.
Yeah.
20.1, records related to the identity of the complainant are considered protected information with regard to the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. So this suggests that we would be removing, if you ask for the complaint, you can have it, but we're going to take the name of who complained out of it, which is what the act requires, but this kind of just reminds us. For 22, intake and inspection. Upon receipt of a complaint, the property shall be inspected by the municipality in one of the following manners. In person, by the CAO, Reeve, or designated officer without notice, so long as the inspection consists of only entering publicly accessible areas of the property. So you could walk on the grass, you could walk down the driveway, but you can't go to a building, you can't go through a gate, you can't go in somehow. Just the part the public could normally get to. In person by the CAO or designated officer, if the inspection will consist of areas not normally accessible to the public, 24-hour notice of inspection will be given where practical, but no notice is required. So you note the Reeve part is removed there. It then has to be only the CAO or the designated officer. So it further restricts if this is going to be into a private area, the rules are stronger. If suitable evidence is submitted with the complaint to make a determination as to the compliance with the bylaw, the CAO or designated may determine that no in-person inspection is required prior to notice of violation. So if, say for example, Councillor Zbirun brings in a bunch of pictures of a big problem, gives them to the CAO, she can look at this and say, okay, we don't need to drive over to Benito, look at these pictures, it's clear from this, we need to send a letter. 21, following the submission of information and possible inspection of the property, the CAO or designated officer shall make a determination of compliance with the bylaw and record the outcome of their determination in the file. So what did you, yes, this complaint is valid, this is crap, whatever, write it down. Notwithstanding the other requirements of the section, council assembled may make a determination of compliance with this bylaw via resolution in place of the CAO or designated officer making such a determination. So if council wishes to make that ruling here, we can, but by resolution we vote on it at a public meeting. So normally staff would do it, but if for some reason we're bringing it here, it has to be in public and voted on. What do you think about all of the intake and inspection? Does that make sense? Is there anything you want to change? Okay. Give notices, warnings, and orders. Where property is known to be at risk for enforcement of this bylaw, notice may be issued to the registered owner and tenant that provides details of the bylaw and suggestions of how to comply. Notice the word may. It does not say it has to be, but we could. So we can send out an information letter. Hey, you may not know this needs to change. Here's what the bylaw says, please do something. Notices are not required. They're used as an early compliance mechanism that may prevent the need for a formal process under this bylaw. The failure to provide early notice does not dispose of any requirements under this bylaw. There's no imperative for the municipality to make use of the notice option prior to enforcement. Issuance of a notice to a specific property or group of properties does not remove any of the other requirements under this bylaw, nor reduce the required warning or other periods prescribed within. So notices can happen, if they don't, that's fine, but getting a notice doesn't start any of the timers. So if you get a letter saying, hey, you may not know this, you should comply, it hasn't started a timer. 23.1, where contravention of the bylaw is found under section 22, the municipality may choose to issue a warning to the property owner and residents to bring the property into compliance. There's no requirement to issue a warning for contraventions, but if a warning is issued, a minimum period of 7 days must be given prior to an order being issued for the same concern. Warnings must be issued and served in accordance with the terms contained herein and must contain at least the following. A notice that continued non-compliance will lead to enforcement under this bylaw. A statement of the bylaw is available to review. A summary of the concern that could lead to enforcement. A statement the municipality is available to discuss the concern. So this, if we issue a warning, we can't go back the next day and say, well, you didn't do it already. You have to be given at least 7 days to do some stuff. 23.2, where contravention is found and any warning period is expired, the municipality may issue an order to resolve the concern. Orders under this bylaw must contain a minimum the actions that must be taken to resolve the infraction. So it would say you have to remove the car, you have to stack your wood, the date and time by which the action must be taken, a statement of the possible outcomes if the action is not taken, including pending fines and corrective action, along with the statement the costs for enforcement shall be charged to the property. If applicable, a statement of the administrative monetary penalty will be applied if the action is not taken. Details on how to appeal the order. Orders must be served in accordance with the terms of this bylaw. Copies of orders issued under this bylaw must be provided to council as information items in the next practical in-camera session. So anytime an order is issued, this council finds out about it in the private session, so you know what's going on. Except in the cases of immediate safety concerns, orders issued under this section must have a minimum date of compliance of at least 7 business days after the order is issued. But it can be 20, it can be 30. You have to be given at least 7 working days. Thoughts on those, the notices, the warnings, the orders? Does that all make sense? 23.3. Orders for derelict buildings are not subject to section 23 or the normal service requirements of this bylaw and are instead issued under section 24. Because the rules for derelict buildings are very different. So under 24, these are the specific rules issued that the province says you have to follow if you're going for a derelict building. It's 24.1, the CAO shall issue a preliminary derelict building order in respect of a property if they're satisfied that the registered owner has been found to be guilty of contravening this bylaw and the property continues to be in contravention. So this would be that house you're talking about with the windows open, not heated, no permit. If we're satisfied that's the case, then we continue on. A preliminary derelict building order must include the legal description, a statement that it's derelict, a statement that property may be transferred to the municipality if not brought into compliance with this bylaw. Designated officer issues a preliminary derelict building order must ensure that a copy of the order is promptly registered against the derelict property at the property registry and personally served on the registered owner of the derelict property and on every other person who on the day of the order is registered at the property registry, appears from the records to have an interest in the property, so any mortgage holder, anything like that. Registered owner shall be required to bring the property in compliance with the file within 90 days after the preliminary order has been served on the registered owner. Any person served with the derelict building order may appeal the order to council. The appeal must be made in writing and must be received by the chief administrative officer of the municipality within 90 days following service of the order on the registered owner. A second notice of preliminary derelict building order may be issued by the CAO if a property continues to remain derelict property for more than 30 days following the day on which the preliminary derelict building order was served on all persons required to be served under section 24.3. The second notice must include legal description, a statement that the property continues to be derelict, a statement that if the property is not brought into compliance with this bylaw within 60 days, title to the above noted property may be issued in the name of the municipality, and the person being served may be forever responsible and debarred from setting up any claim to or in respect to the property, and a statement the person served with the notice has the right to have council review the preliminary building order, the preliminary derelict building order, or the time period set out to bring the property into compliance, which request of council reviewer must be made within 60 days after the second notice is served. So all of that to say that you get a notice today, 30 days later you get another notice, both of them personally served on you, so it's given to you by somebody. The CAO must ensure the second copy of the second notice is registered at the property registry and personally served on the registered owner and every other person who on the day the order is registered appears from the records to have an interest in the property. The CAO may apply to council for a derelict building certificate if the preliminary order and second notice have been issued, registered, and served. The time period for bringing the property into compliance has expired. The appeal period has expired, or council's reviewed the order and confirmed to vary the order is varied, has not been complied with, and the designated officer is satisfied the property continues to be in contravention of this bylaw. So that application comes to you, for us to review and say, yes, we agree with this. When applying for derelict building certificate, the CAO must provide to council completed and sworn or affirmed statutory. Council, upon receipt of the application for derelict building certificate made by resolution, issue the certificate if there's evidence the property continues to be derelict property and the opinion of council their satisfactory plan for redeveloping the property. When a derelict building certificate is issued, the designated officer may register the certificate against the derelict property at the property registry, apply to the district register for title to the derelict property to be issued in the name of the municipality. Application for title must be made within 120 days after council issued the derelict building certificate. So if you follow this process through, if you have a house, windows are open, it hasn't been needed for 2 years, but you always pay your taxes because your taxes are only $50 a year because your house is worthless. We say you are compliant, we give you this notice. 30 days later, we give you the second notice. 60 days after that, if you haven't done anything with the house, you don't have any plans, you don't convince us somehow, it shows up at the next council meeting and we say, is there a plan for this? Is this derelict? And if we say yes, the municipality takes ownership even though you paid your taxes. The property registry transfers it to us and it becomes our property to dispose of in a way that makes it better. So in theory, tear the thing down or get somebody, sell it to somebody that will look after it, do something with it. So this is very different than anything we've had on file here before. Because, we do have some places where the tax bill is $50 because the house isn't heated. And they pay the $50 every year, but the house sits there. So this gives us the opportunity to do something about that.
So if we take over this property, is it our responsibility to get heat into it, to get the alarm system into it, to get it to comply with this?
It requires that we have a plan for what we're going to do with it. So in theory, that would come forward at the same time. If we do this, this is what we're going to do, which could be auction it off to somebody.
Or tear it down.
Or tear it down. Some of them are gonna be in a state where, what I'm saying with them.
And somebody might want that property to build a new
Have
house.
them build a new house on it.
Yeah.
Some places. Some places actually could be fixed up.
And hopefully, you're saving them before they've been empty for 10 years. If you're 6 or 8 months into somebody walked away in a house, most houses are savable at that point. Auction it off, carry on. But if it's been, there's some that have been sitting like this for a few years already, well, they may not be savable. Service requirements. So this is not the derelict, this is for everything else. All warnings, notices and orders shall be generated electronically and printed as a hard copy, the format typically used by the municipality and varied from time to time. What we have been noticing now is the old bylaws prescribe certain forms that have to be filled out by hand. It takes 2 to 3 hours to issue these notices right now. So this provides that it will simply be a click, 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 type it in, hit print, done. Saves some time. Contain minimum information, but they can contain additional. 1 copy must be mailed by regular mail to the address of each owner of the property. Copy must also be mailed or delivered to the residents of the property if they're not the owner. In the case of warnings or orders, a second copy must be served by the following means: registered mail or other tract delivery services to the owner of the property, or personal delivery to an adult of the property, or by posting the notice on the property in a conspicuous place that can be seen by the owners and others who may have an interest in the notice. In the case of undelivered registered mail, the service requirement of this section will be met by personal delivery to the property or posting of the property. The old rules that we have say that once we register mail something, it doesn't matter if you don't pick it up, you're still served. Which isn't terribly fair to some people, because if we've got the wrong address and we send registered mail, you never get it. You know, this says if you don't pick it up, we have to do something else to tell you about it. Even if that means putting a post in the front yard with a copy of the thing stuck to it saying, hey, somebody should pay attention to this. Appeals to any notice, warning, or order of this bylaw shall be heard by council as a whole. No required form to submit an appeal, but all appeals must be submitted in writing and contain the reasons for appeal. So this frees people up. We've seen it in the past where somebody doesn't fill out the appeal form, and then council, well, you didn't use the right form. So this gets rid of that. This says, as long as you send it to us, we'll look at it. Anyone submitted an appeal may appear at council to provide further information for their appeal. Upon hearing the appeal, council must determine by resolution if the appeal is upheld or denied. So again, we can't just ignore it. We have to make a decision. Except for matters under section 24, should an appeal be denied, council must fix a final compliance date as part of their denial. So if you appeal that wood pile, it's a huge mess, we must say you absolutely have to have it done by this date because your appeal is denied. Except for matters under section 24, should council uphold an appeal, council must issue by resolution an order that either disposes of the matter or clearly indicates which portions of the matter have been struck. All the portions of the matter which are not struck are made enforceable, and council must set a final compliance date. So essentially, the resolution would say that we are saying it is okay to do this, and no further action is taken, or it's okay to do this, but not that. Determination by council's final law appeals unless the terms of the administrative monetary penalty bylaw apply. This is some forward-looking language to when we move to monetary penalties because they require a different appeal process. Right now, we don't have administrative monetary penalties, but this bylaw is written so that it can be added to it without going back and changing it. Enforcement. Should non-compliance continue past the date provided in an order, the municipality shall, where feasible, take such actions to bring the property into compliance. The cost of such actions shall be charged to the owner of the property. In addition to all other collection options available to the municipality, the cost may also be applied to the property in the same manner as a tax under the Municipal Act. The municipality may also issue such fees or fines as indicated in the order up to a maximum of $1,000 per day. In addition to all other collection options available to the municipality, the fees and fines may also be applied to the property in the same manner as a tax under the Municipal Act. Where non-compliance continues, the municipality may elect to issue a fee or fine for each day the non-compliance continues. In the case of administrative monetary penalties, an additional penalty may be issued for each day the non-compliance continues. That's general language that's in most things. I don't think we've ever fined every single day, but we'll go back sometimes once a month and say, come on, you still haven't. Questions, comments, thoughts on that stuff? We'll do the vehicle rewrites and come back with new language on that. Is there anything else in there that people think is horrible, needs to change? Is there stuff you want added that wasn't dealt with in this? So I don't think we should go first reading tonight because we've got a major rewrite coming. So we'll get that done and bring it to the next meeting and maybe do first reading. Yeah, because there's some pretty major changes. So I think we'll do those first before we look at our first reading. If that pleases everybody.
Okay.
Okay.
It's quite a bylaw.
Yeah, that's a pretty big one, that one. Big one.
It does replace both of the other two, which right now,
Benito and
and the RM of Swan River. So we get the rules into one set of rules that everyone can look at instead of say, okay, where's the property, which of these applies? Okay, if there's nothing further on that, let's move quickly to number 9, committee reports and communications. We'll start with Councillor Burick.
Here. Not too much, I just was gonna ask, but maybe you probably cover that, or I don't know, go on the camera that, about the Ford Crossing. Any comments? I shared your post on Facebook. I hadn't had any comments. I hadn't had anybody on the street approach me, but I mean, there was a few comments that you had in yours, and most of them were positive for a new bridge.
I think that sums it up. There's a lot of people that,
Yeah.
the general consensus is that crossing can't just go away.
No.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
needs to be replaced with something.
It needs to, it can't be closed, it just needs to be marked better right now. And then look forward, look to the future, what are we gonna do with it?
So,
'Cause it's-
what's the steps we took so far? That I know there was gonna be some signs made
So
in
we're
that.
working on getting the signs made. The signs don't indicate a date of closure, they just indicate, travel's not really recommended, be careful,
Yeah,
type of thing.
Speed limit,
It's,
that was suggested to me the other day by a resident.
I don't know how
Horses and
Can't we put,
horses.
yeah,
Can't
we're gonna
enforce it.
enforce it, but it might scare some people.
Yeah. What we talked about when you weren't here was signs, like reflective signs, that basically warn you before you get there, there's a problem here.
yeah,
Because our big fear is someone comes on in the night,
Flying
doesn't
over
know
the-
it, and,
yeah, it's just someone going fast down there, like
yeah.
it's not the people that need to cross it that are going
It's
fast.
strangers.
Yeah, or strangers or young people.
Now, if we close it and we're gonna be building a bridge, it's gonna be what, a 2-year process?
So the process, the bridge people said is it's 2 years before the bridge is done. But actual construction isn't the whole 2 years. There's the testing, there's the planning, there's the engineering. So, yes, 2 years, but if we can scrape through with what's there, that was out there again, we did a little measuring, it's not much changed. If that would last, you would certainly only when it's time to actually start putting the bridge in, would you have to take that out.
Yeah.
So, you'd limp through on this for a while yet too.
What I'm asking though, when we do take it out and we're building a bridge, are we gonna have a temporary crossing there?
Unlikely, unless you want to spend a bunch more money.
To go around the block.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
what we have to do is go around the block.
The town,
But it's,
Yeah.
that's a temporary thing, not a,
A temporary, yeah, temporary crossing, like, I mean, you take any,
no, but there won't be a temporary
Oh.
crossing there when that's in.
cause any bridge that they build on number 10 or whatever, there's
Well,
always a temporary crossing.
That's different, they have
Or
room
even
to
though
do it, we
Walnut
don't.
Lake- Walnut Lake, they're building
Well,
bridges.
we could, but it's gonna add $1 million probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
You'd have to
we
build the
actually
road around
don't.
or put the bridge in and,
Okay,
Well, and we're building over a waterway, that's not even possible, really.
well, you could put temporary bridge in, but it's not
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
'cause
what I
you'd
mean.
be-
Whereas like Wellman Lake, they're going around on dirt road.
and they got a lot
They're
of-
not, they didn't build another bridge, it's a dirt road, I've been.
no, it's just culverts in there, like, I only went there once.
No,
There's
no,
the
but
culverts in
they're,
there.
yeah, I know, but I
But
mean,
they're-
they diverted
Yeah.
around it, they didn't build a
No,
bridge
no,
to
no,
get
no,
over
no,
it.
Bill.
But they had room to,
actually do it really.
they had all kinds of room to
Yeah.
work too.
Yeah.
I-
But no, that's fine, like I say, I hadn't had anything negative. Well, only ones I read was on your post there, and the majority were positive, and people want a new bridge.
So I have a little bit I can share in camera about the new bridge discussion. I was on the phone with Fisheries and Oceans for a while today about bridges. But it's unfortunately, it does qualify for the in-camera portion, so it's gonna have to go there. We were discussing both low-level crossings, including the one that's had the unauthorized modifications.
That's it, I never had no committee reports or anything.
We should get you on some committees.
Should get me on some committees, yeah.
Councillor Blosha.
I have no committee reports either. I talked to Derek about cutting grass in my area, which hasn't happened yet. So hopefully it happens.
Councillor Kushniryk.
Nothing from me.
Councillor McGregor.
Nothing to report. My apologies to council. I missed the library meeting due to a mix-up with my scheduling, but I'm sure Bill will have a report on that.
Councillor Neely.
Haven't had nothing going on.
Councillor Zbirun.
Nothing to report.
So I have a few things I can update council on. Excuse me while I get my list. So let's start with the most recent, and we'll go backwards from that. As council knows, I've been dealing a little bit with the Durban Cemetery Committee. So we're waiting for a meeting now with the committee. We're probably going to go to Durban and talk to them a little bit. The concerns that are coming up there are a couple different things. So they've made a bunch of cemetery rules. And I was talking to the mayor the other day, and he said, "Hell hath no fury like those that are mourning." And he's probably right about that, because the town went through this for a while. So the Durban Cemetery posted a notice that they're going to throw away everything that was on the graves after the 1st of October. And, certainly that rubbed me the wrong way. It probably rubbed quite a few other people the wrong way. So I did speak to the president of their board, I think it's the president, and we talked for probably a good half hour about that. And we talked about how just because other cemeteries might have rules doesn't mean we have to have the same ones here, that we need to find something that, rules that fit our community. He shared that there's a couple graves they feel are out of hand. One of them apparently has 15 solar lights on it. And so he explained how it's hard to mow around those solar lights. And so the rule is they're all going to be removed on the 1st of October and they can all be put back on the 1st of May. And so 4 times he explained to me how this rule was to help with the mowing. And finally I couldn't take it anymore and I said, how many times do you mow the cemetery between October 1st and May 1st? Well, never. Well, I said, I think we have an issue with why we're doing this then. So we got into the weeds a bit at times. Twice there was reference to the mementos on graves as garbage. The garbage people leave on graves. And I said, we can't call it that. Anything that someone has taken to a cemetery, put on a grave,
For a
it's pretty
reason.
important to them. It's important to them, it's important to that person. And how each individual person mourns is not for us to judge, because that's their thing. So we talked some more about that, and I was hoping that maybe we were finding some common ground, but it was difficult finding that common ground. And so the other issue discussed was that the cemeteries created a trust fund, because they've changed the rule that if you bury someone at the cemetery, you pay them $100, and they keep that $100 for 3 years. And if after 3 years or any time they're in, you buy a headstone, they give you the $100 back. But if you don't buy a headstone within 3 years, they buy a little white cross and put it there for you, which is well intentioned. But I said, do you realize you've created a trust fund? Well, no, we haven't. Well, yes, you have. Because someone's responsible for that $100 for 3 years, and that responsibility is here. And so if you're going to create a trust fund for your cemetery, that's going to have to be audited. And the audit fees would be like $2,000 a year to audit a trust fund with $100 in it. So we need to rethink this, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'm here to tell you, I just used that cemetery, and I was beyond pissed that I had to pay $100 to the cemetery to see if I'm going to put up a headstone or not. Because seriously, there's bigger fish to fry in this world than that. But I had to go back to the funeral home and pay the $100 separate, or else we couldn't have the burial. And there's some things that are just, when you're in that process, and hopefully you don't have to be it very often, there's some things that really piss you off. That was one of them. So we talked for a while about that, and in the end, after about a half an hour, when we really weren't progressing anywhere, I said, I think what we need to do is have a meeting. So I've asked the cemetery board to meet with me. I have not asked but told that they will not touch anything on a grave until that meeting is held. And we're currently working on finding a date for that meeting. So it's going to be probably a rainy day when people aren't harvesting. We'll get the board together. We're going to go through those rules and we're going to see if we can come up with some compromises that maybe better reflect the needs of our community. Ultimately, that cemetery, the authority for that board is delegated from this council. We own that cemetery, so we are ultimately responsible for what happens there. I said it countless times in the phone call, we're not going to start wars we don't need to start. There's no reason to have somebody upset with us because they can't go to a cemetery and leave something on the grave.
Well, we've never had a problem with it in all the years I've been going there until
And
now.
some of the language was, people in this municipality need to learn that there's going to be rules that are going to be enforced. And I said, if that's the thought,
But
we're on the wrong track.
also remember all these people that are like leaving something, also help with the mowing.
Yes.
Their families do the mowing as well, and we go around stuff like that, and yeah, that's just,
Well,
I don't know why things have to be,
There was one case that was given to me where a young man goes to the cemetery and drinks beer on his father's grave and leaves a beer can behind.
that's one beer can.
And I think, if you're in a place where you need to go do that at the grave, we probably shouldn't be asking questions. So we'll work on that and see if we can't just calm that down a little bit and not have an incident. And there's been some movement already. I know the CAO's talked to the committee a little bit on my behalf, and they've kind of started to soften some of those rules. Well, we could do it this way. Great, I said, we're gonna put that in writing, because we're not gonna have the rules saying we throw everything away October 1st.
No, because
We'll calm this down.
we put that there for a reason.
And to be clear, and I told them on the phone, and I'll say it here, they've done amazing work at that cemetery. The signage is beautiful, the little room they've made there is beautiful, they've done amazing things there. And I don't want to take away from all the great stuff they've done, but on this one particular topic, they may be on the wrong track. So we're gonna work on that. I did attend a library meeting without Mr. McGregor, because he thought it was the next night. So library, time in the old library again. There's a letter, I did not bring it tonight, but I'll tell you about it. Public Library Services has written to the library board, indicating they've determined the library board is in non-compliance with the Public Library Act on the basis of Councillor McGregor and Reeve Gade both being there, helping look after the committee. They have given us until our first meeting in January to resolve that issue. So we're required by Public Library Services to replace one of us, ideally him, because he missed the meeting. Take that, with a member of the public. Now, we need to probably do that or they're going to pull the funding from the library. And the library probably can't afford to lose the funding. But we should put some thought into finding a member of the public that will do well on that board and help bring that board into where we want it to be. So if you all think a little bit about what the options are there, we need to find somebody that would, regularly expect to see the finances of the board and have them properly there, not somebody that's simply just going to raise their hand every time. We need somebody with some critical thinking skills to help get that board back on track. So we'll need to come up with that by January. But, the sooner we find that person and talk to them and explain it and see if they'll do it, the better it will be. Public Library Services also happened to send a copy of the agreement that creates the Northwest Regional Library between the Municipality of Swan Valley West and the town of Swan River, which was updated after amalgamation. The agreement provides that the library board must present to us by the end of November the budget for the next year. So as I said to the board, did you read part 2? Because if we're going to follow every rule, we're going to follow every rule. Now we're going to need to see that budget by the end of November. So they're going to start working on that and see if they can actually comply with the rules. I did not bring a copy of the financial statement with me. Maybe I should have, but I don't want to just throw people under the bus all meeting. 2 meetings ago, the financial statement was wrong by $20,000. At this meeting, the financial statement was now wrong by $36,000. So I pointed out that again, this is wrong, and actually the problem is getting a lot worse than getting better. There was some anger from some there. They're struggling with being able to tell the board what's in the bank, what's been spent, what's been received, and that's not a good place for the board to be. So they had received a letter from our council that we wrote after we discussed it here, where we laid out our expectations for the library board, that they would provide correct accounting, that they would have financial statements that were accurate, that they would follow generally accepted rules for running a board. So they discussed that at length, and when they'd all discussed it to death, I said, I signed the letter, I could tell you what it means. So then we had more discussion, and I explained that in general, our council expects professionalism of that board. We expect board members to receive those financial statements more than 1 minute before the meeting. We want them to see them the week, Friday before, so they can look at them for the weekend before the Monday meeting. We want them to have the agenda at least a couple days before the meeting. We want any changes, such as the changes that are proposed for Benito, coming forward with some written reasons for why. If we're going to cut the hours, what would it save? Why would we cut the hours? What are the options? Not just, agenda item 3, let's cut the hours for Benito, and everyone puts up their hand. We want to see a functioning board there that is actually going someplace. They feel they can do that. That would be great, and we look forward to seeing it. The library will be hosting Spooktober, October 17th and 18th, I believe it is, the Friday, Saturday. If anyone's interested in volunteering, they would certainly love some volunteers. Last year, the library raised almost $10,000 in Spooktober, so it's a great fundraiser for the library. Helps pay the bills over there. I'll be there, and the rest of you have some time. You're welcome to be there as well. Next library meeting is in a month or so, and we shall see. I attended Brandon for the resident retreat with the doctors. So we had about 130 residents there. These are all R1 and R2 residents. So they're folks that will either be a doctor this June or next June. So they came through, we talked to quite a few of them, and you can certainly tell when you talk to them within the first minute or so, if they're just kicking tires, if they're actually interested. So we probably talked to 5 or 6 people that are genuinely interested in coming to the Swan River Valley. So for them, we certainly discussed at length what's available here. We gave out about 40 of those Explorer passes to people that had some interest in coming up here and seeing the community. You didn't get one unless you wanted to be in a rural area and hadn't already committed someplace. So if you'd already said, well, I'm going to Dauphin for sure, we weren't interested. But if you want to work rural and you're not decided, we said, well, come to Swan River, we'd like to show you around. I was shocked, and I don't know if I can properly do justice to the looks on people's faces, because one of our pitches is, we have a CT scanner. And to us, that's not a big deal anymore. That is a conversation stopper at that meeting. When we're talking to those doctors and we say, oh, we have a CT scanner, they say, what? Yeah, you have a CT scanner in Swan River? Yes, we're one of the places with a CT scanner. Oh, I see. And the conversation is different after it's that big of a deal to them, that we have that technology here. The other thing that's important to them, when they find out we have an independent lab here, the tests are actually happening in this hospital, and you don't draw blood and wait 2 days to find out a result. Those are big, important things to these doctors that are looking for a place to go. So it's interesting to see. We've always talked about the CT scanner being important, but you see it in these residents, it's just, they stop there, oh really? Well, because these other places don't have that, I know. And it gets a lot more of them interested. So it's interesting to see how that goes. One of the people we met there is actually coming up here for 6 weeks to do some residency work now. So they came, I think they came a couple days ago. They probably came on Monday or so. So they're here, they're actually going to join us this weekend for the medical retreat. So it was a good time in Brandon, well worth the trip. It's not cheap to go, but just to get that chance to see everybody, talk to them, meet them is important. We do have the Rural Interest Group is coming Friday. They're here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think I mentioned this previous meeting, but Councillor Neely wasn't here, and for the rest of you, if you've forgotten, when we did this rig the first time, we had 24 students. I think 22 showed up. We had 24 spots. This time we had intended 24 spots again. We had 70 students apply to come to Swan River this fall because they had wanted to come and see this. So that's almost triple the interest we had last time we did this. We did not take all 70. To be able to come here this weekend, you had to apply and provide a page of explanation of why you felt you should come to Swan River. We wanted to see in there things like you were considering practicing here, or you really wanted this exposure to this rural hospital. So with the help of a couple folks in Winnipeg, we have selected 24 students out of the 70, the best of the best to come here. And then we added 2 more, because why not? These things happen sometimes. So there's actually 26 coming. 2 of the people coming are actually driving their own personal vehicles up. One of them is that doctor I keep talking about. This will be the 3rd and 4th trip here that's looking to practice here. She's driving up herself just to be here because she didn't fit on the bus, but she's going to come. So it's quite exciting. Friday we'll be doing a meet and greet with them. They'll be getting their Swan Valley shirts like we did last time around. They're going over to another doctor's home on the river there, so spend some time with her, find out how billing works. On Saturday we're doing rotations at the hospital, so we'll be doing casting and suturing, a tour of the hospital, be in there. Something else interesting, I forget what it is. Saturday afternoon we're heading up to Wellman Lake, so some will be going fishing, some will be going hiking. We're then having a meal up at Wellman Lake followed by a campfire. So we'll have basically all of Saturday afternoon to visit with these people and talk to them and get them into it, and then Sunday to head back to Winnipeg. So it should be a good time. And that takes me back to our last meeting. I can further advise, Public Utilities Board has been asking questions the last few days. It looks like they're getting very close to issuing our new water rates. They're just doing some housekeeping questions, so staff's been providing them information on how much the deficit has been paid off already, doing a little bit of billing stuff for them. They asked some pertinent questions about water leaks and what we found with that, so we provided that information. Taxes were due officially yesterday, but we were closed because of the holiday. So most people were paying before that, but we're trying to be sane, reasonable folks here. So we won't be processing penalties until the end of the week. So people that came in today are coming tomorrow. If their online banking was a day late, we're not gonna issue interest because of a day. So we're gonna give it a couple days. Once that's all gone through and it's slowed down, we'll then flip the month over to October. But at the moment, we're still considering it to be September 30th here, just to give people that chance so we don't charge them interest for really no particular reason. It's been pretty good, been very busy in the office. If any of you were through the last couple days, it gets wild in here towards the end of September, just the number of people coming in. So lots of people have patience, which is good, but the staff are doing really well at helping them too. So, on the water treatment plant, we've had a little bit of oops. It's resolved. We thank the town of Neepawa, of all places, for helping us resolve the little problem that developed out there. It was not with the plant itself, it was with testing. So that's been sorted through and should be in good hands and working fine. We're looking at starting, we have one of our operators going on leave, as we all know. So we're looking at starting another employee down the path. We're gonna try it out for a few days and see if they like that sort of thing before we start looking at licensing them. But let them go there for a few days with Sean and just see how they feel about it. And we're hoping that maybe we can then bring forward a recommendation to start the process of getting them certified, which would be good to have 3. So we'd have 2 and then we'll come back later, so. Could work out quite well.
You mentioned Depot, they're getting a new hospital there, are they not?
They are, but no CT scanner. Brand new hospital without a CT scanner, which has people in Depot are very angry. Anything else we should discuss for committee reports, communications? We're going to take a break for a few minutes. When we come back, we've got a little bit of HR stuff for in camera, a little bit of bylaw stuff for in camera, but it should be pretty calm, I think, tonight, which is nice.
Oh,
We'll see everybody in about 10 minutes time.
you're all rest meeting.
Back to order. We'll go to 10-1. Be it resolved that pursuant to section 1523, the Municipality Council shall meet as a committee to hold a closed meeting and continue discussions in camera regarding personnel matters, negotiations, preliminary discussions, and investigation and enforcement of an act or bylaw. Moved by Councillor Neely, seconded by Councillor Zbirun. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. Those in favor? That's carried. Coming to the in-camera session, we've given some direction to staff on a couple matters. Is there any resolutions arising from the in-camera discussions tonight? Does anyone have a notice of motion to present tonight? Hearing nothing. Be it resolved this meeting shall now adjourn at 10:01 p.m. Be it further resolved the next meeting is Tuesday, October. Spell October right. 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Moved by Councillor Neely and seconded by Councillor Blosha.
He was had his hand up like a
I
long
even
time.
got a witness.
I know, I seen it.
Kind of nice when he was told.
Question, those in favor?
I've been waiting for this for 6 weeks.
Now I want to start, I was hoping it was still light when I got home.
Which day is Thanksgiving? Is it 13th?
It's on Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Ours
Tuesday.
is on Tuesday.
I need some votes for people saying we're carrying this. Anybody else want to vote in favor? Opposed. Thank you, that's carried.